Okay guys, so the protecting route, right? How you protect the route? Yesterday we saw how to log in with Google, right? Now it's time to look at the protecting route. So the way we protect route is in the next auth, right? There is something called middleware. Okay, so we will look at the middleware and how we can create and all that, right? So let's go to the middleware section here. uh, Session, sign out, protecting route, right? So for protecting the route we have concept called middleware. Okay, so middleware is a function. I mean, if we think, right, to do something, to handle something, or to take some action, we must need function. Similarly, next-auth already have middleware created. It has a middleware. Okay, we just have to use that. So that middleware is a function that will run first in every request. Okay, so that will run first, right? And it will check if the user who is trying to log into the site, right, I mean whatever route it is trying to access, if that is protected, that means he must be logged in, or maybe he has some kind of a like a admin access or something like that, right? If that is validated, then only he will be allowed to go to that route. So how middleware does that work, we will look at that also, right? So in order to create middleware, uh, there is the programming, what you call that, paradigm, right? In next.js paradigm, or you can call it the predefined rules. Okay, predefined rules. So to add middleware you must go to the root directory, root, right? So that is our next here, this project root, and add the file called middleware. Okay, so you must see somewhere here. I have not added. Okay, it's not there, right? So let's add that one, middleware. So see, once in this function we will check for our session, right? If the user is trying to access the protected route without login, then it will redirect to the login page. Next route has built-in middleware function. Okay, next route has already built-in middleware function. Let's try to understand how middleware work. In the root folder, create middleware.ts file. So the file name must be same like this, nothing changed. Okay, just give the same name. All right, so go to the root here and add that middleware.ts. I thought I created already, but it's not here. Middleware.ts, right? Yeah, same like that. So I mean we can look at, right, how it really work, by experimenting, just writing the function middleware and see how it looks, I mean how it work. And then later we're gonna use the next-auth middleware, okay, function. So we can here, right, we can just copy this one, and let's, or maybe we can write for now. Okay, let's look at here, import next request next response from next server. We can do that, correct? And after that you have to write, so this one we know already. Okay, this is the function built inside the next server, right? You can import during creating API, that request and response. So if you need to send any request, you can use the next request basically to access the body data, right? And to send the response you use the next response. Okay, so in this case we're going to send some response, right? So the way we're going to write function is here, same name, middleware function. So let's copy this part. Look at here, export function, right? Basically you exporting the function middleware and return. So here is re, spelling mistake, and you sending the response. So in the response, I mean we don't have the complete middleware functionality here, but what we want to demonstrate, or maybe demo, right? For demo purpose, we just want to see if this middleware run fast or not. Okay, we want to see that, right? So when you access any file, or let's say when your server run, right, and you try to go to the even localhost 3000, it will redirect to this new URL. It's just creating some dummy URL, right? I mean, we don't have this page right now, we don't have this route, but just imagine it will give 404 error. Okay, so let's see if this work, right? That is the first concept of middleware. Middleware means it will run fast. So let's start the server and try to do, understand. Npm run dev. So every time now when there is a concept of middleware, always remember the middleware is there because it will run fast. Even in Express, remember that we used to have the route dot I think server something. There was a middleware, one or two middleware we used to use, you know. Route dot, what was that? Even I mean, I don't remember that. Okay, let's go back now, right? Look at here, the page load and it send us to the new page. See, so middleware, the job of middleware is to run fast, and whatever inside here it will take action, right? The next thing is right, so you know, that's why to protect our route we're gonna take the help of middleware, and we're gonna give certain route, right? We're gonna say just run this route only if there is some kind of a login or something authorized. Okay, so for now let's see, let's go back here. Okay, let's go back to our code here and copy this. There is next, you know, concept here. Basically we have to create one object, right? And here we define the matcher. Matcher means only run this middleware function in this route. So you can put the set of route here, right? For example, let's say okay, first leave it user only, right? Like this, let's leave it users. Okay, let's see what happens. So now I will remove this one and just go to the local host. So it now you see the local host is here, right? You see that it's running. I am logged in, but let me sign out, right? Yes. So see, you can see now, right? You can see this is okay. Localhost is running because we put the matcher route now, and we said when you have route users, then only run the middleware. So how are you gonna test that? So I'll just go here and I say users and enter, right? And see, I'm sent to the new user page, and it says request page does not exist, right? Yes, we know that. So look at here. Okay, so that is the main concept of middleware. The next is the this symbol, right? Star, plus, and question mark. Okay, so here let's say we're gonna put here slash, maybe colon, ID, right? Like that, and star. So what that means, right? Either only user or maybe any ID, anything after that, right? Any parameter, anything after that, you know, 0 without any parameter or with parameter. That is what it means. If there is plus, right? If you put plus, 1 or more, right? One, at least you need one parameter here, at least one or more parameter. If you have question mark, without parameter or one parameter at least, right? So that is the meaning of this thing. So let's try now again, right? So 0 or more. So if you have nothing here, you know, we get to this root route, right? But if I say here users, that means page, new page will be sent, right? But if I go back again and I say, let's call it users slash, and I will put some ID 1 2 3, right? Something like that, and enter. Again I will send to the same new page, because that is the, you know, condition we added, right, to the matcher. So in the array you can add many methods, like maybe you're gonna have, like, let's say slash. So start with slash, okay, because localhost your route slash, and let's call it dashboard, right? Dashboard slash maybe something, maybe colon, maybe let's say id. You want to add maybe question mark, like that, you can put that. So it just created the, again if you have this dashboard something, right, 0 or 1, right, at least 0 or 1. So let's go to the, for example, dashboard, and see, we send to the new page here. So that is the main concept of middleware, okay. So I will delete this, and what I'm gonna do is I will just comment this out, right. We don't need this one. So we will use the built-in, I mean, we just understand how the middleware in next.js will work, right, by creating our own middleware. But in next.js there is built-in middleware, so we're gonna import that. Let's get that here. Basically it's 2 line of code, like that. So you import middleware from next-auth middleware, like that, and export default middleware, and done. And then later you're gonna add a lot of match, or whatever matcher we need, right, you're gonna add here. What happened? Okay, so all right guys, so that is all about the middleware. And now, right, let's check if this is working or not. So we have this users again, right, and see what we get, okay, in the users. So we have the users route here. Let's check, right, if we have users. Yeah, we have users right here, and there is id also. So now if we go, if localhost 3000 is fine, but if I put here slash users, right, it just send me directly for login page now, because it says you are not authorized to go to that page, right. So we're gonna build this, we're gonna create this one credential by adding the credential, okay. So let's sign in now with Google, right. I can go there and use my email account. So now right, we are in the user page. See, users. So look, after login, okay. And also I have sign out button here. My name is the person who signed in, and the button sign out. Good. So that was the concept of middleware. Okay, let's move to the next topic now. Database adapter, right. The next one is database adapter. So what is database adapter? So up to this point, right, we can log in with Google account, we know that, but in real application we need to store the user information in database. For this, next-auth provide adapter. So let's see in action. With the adapter, right, when someone log in, next-auth will automatically store the user information in database. So basically this adapter, the job of this adapter is to store the user information in database. In next-auth documentation, right, go to adapter, and we have various adapter. We will use Prisma because we already have Prisma installed, so we have to install this, right, Prisma adapter in our project. Okay, so let's look at the documentation first. So these are the okay, so this is the provider, right, that is the provider. I need to find adapter. So here is the adapter. Okay, so provider means the service provider like Google, maybe GitHub, Twitter, many more, right? You saw that study. So let's look at the adapter. So adapter means basically which service you're going to use, right, to handle or to manage the user data. So in here, I mean, of course you can use the MongoDB, but we have MongoDB database already, correct? We're going to use Prisma to handle the communication or basically to manage our database, correct? Prisma. So let's click on Prisma here. So it says, right, installation. First you have to install this package, npm install Prisma client. So Prisma we already have. We have the Prisma client. We have everything installed before. Next one is auth, right, and Prisma adapter. So see, the thing is, right, this next auth is changing to auth now. Okay, but until now I believe, look at here, next auth JS becoming auth JS. So still in under development, right? I mean, they are still fixing all this, but I think until now this is not working, right? Auth. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use the previous one, next auth. Okay, that is what we're gonna use. So we just put next dash auth here. That is what we're gonna use for now, but in the future maybe it will change, right? It will change, and then you're gonna use same like here. So, and because we have Prisma already installed, we're not going to install, we just install this part. Okay, so let's see how we can do that now. So here I added the installation. See, just need to install this one in our case, right? Because we just need next auth Prisma adapter only. So copy this and go to the terminal and install that, because we are going to install, we are going to use adapter, right, to store our data. So oh, I cannot paste. I don't know what happened. Something is not wrong. Control V. No. So right click, copy, and yeah, install. So it will install next auth Prisma adapter to handle the, adapter is basically for storing data in database, but we are using Prisma also. So there is, for Prisma adapter there is a process we are following. Okay, so once we have done that, right, it says next step, import this in your file, right? So let's do that, import Prisma adapter. So now where we're going to import that? Remember our login, everything we are doing in the API. Remember that API auth next auth, right? So here what we are handling everything, correct? So you have to do it in this place. Yesterday we work with Google, right? We know that, but today, because we are working with adapter, you just have to import that in your this file. Okay, route.ts. Import that, right? Once you import, and also you need a Prisma client. Prisma client is what? That's the, remember the piece of code, right, we put in the client file. So if you look at the client, that will be, so where is that, next auth, that is in the Prisma, right, in the Prisma. So our Prisma is here, and see this Prisma client we added, you never have to touch, right? Last time we copied and put here from the if you say next auth Prisma client, so it's just a piece of code which will help us to create Prisma client. And oh, not that one, it was somewhere here, not next auth. Okay, let's call it Prisma client, just Prisma client, right? Search for that and I believe somewhere here. I mean, even here is some code, right? No, not here. I know I had that, right? But the link I saw you guys last time. Okay, so I mean, I think I put in the document also, right? You're gonna find somewhere when we creating the uh, Prisma right here, you're gonna find that link. Okay, basically that's just a simple code. Okay, we have to place it in the client file and we're gonna use that, right? You know, this code you're always gonna need when you're dealing with the Prisma, right? And MongoDB, you just put this code here and done in the client, in your Prisma folder, client, and then just copy paste this code and you finish. And basically this client is like a, you know, like the postman, right? Middleman, which will take the schema, right? Map the schema, basically mapping the schema, the model we have here. You know, it's gonna take the model and then it will communicate with our database MongoDB. That's the client. This client job is to deal with this schema. So whatever model you create here and communicate with the database. Okay, so that's why we need to import this client. For now, just remember like that. So let's go back here, right? And you have to import this Prisma from Prisma client file here. So how are we going to use this adapter? Go inside your this auth option, right? You know, yesterday I forgot to add this next auth option. Okay, this is the validation, right, for the auth option. Okay, so you can just add their next auth option. So we just go inside here, right, above the provider. So yesterday, if you look at yesterday file, whatever you have done, right, there was a provider and a square bracket, right? And after that we had the Google provider only. Yesterday we had only Google provider, but I added all this code today. I will explain this later. Okay, this code, right? So outside of provider, you put this adapter, this name, the property adapter, and add this Prisma adapter. Just call the Prisma adapter function and pass that Prisma. Okay, this client, right? And done. That is all you have to do. And you know, adapter is, it will do the job, right? The rest of the job it will take care. So if we look at the documentation, you know, it says once you install this and install the Prisma also, but you know, we have done this one, we don't need. We have done this one, we don't have to do. We just install that part, right? Now the next step is look at here, this part we have to do. So there is a provider already, right? Google provider. You just have to do this. Okay, so that's why you import Prisma adapter, and after that, so here is auth. Okay, but we are using next-auth. So you're gonna see in the code, in my code here, right? Next-auth, from next-auth Prisma adapter. Yeah, so after that you execute this file, and also we see a little bit different here. New Prisma client, oh sorry, here Prisma adapter, right? And you pass that Prisma. So once we have done, we are finished, right? Basically next step is creating the schema now. So schema means all the model, right? Model for our database. For user management, we have to create all this model. Okay, so from, you know, user can have account, different account, right? Session, so when user log in, there is the information, correct? Remember the token, session token and all that, right, will be stored in this model. So these are the table, right? Table for our database. Remember when we create schema, what you do, we just use this schema to map our database for adding something, deleting, updating, all kind of thing, right? So we just have to copy from So there is account, there is session, and there is user and verification also, right? So right now we're not going to use all this, but let's create, right? Let's add how it work. Okay, so you just have to copy all this, right, all this, and then paste in our schema. The only thing is, this is for the I believe this is for MySQL, right, or maybe PostSQL. Okay, Prisma, let's see what is the client here, right? Postgres, right? Postgres SQL. Okay, so that is created for Postgres. We just have to do minor changes, like when you create the ID in MongoDB, right? Adding some default values, or I think changing this to maybe string, I believe. Yeah, all that. So copy from here all the way to down and paste in our schema. So I will show you now. So let's go to the schema. Where is the Prisma, right? In the Prisma schema here. So look at, so last time we had this file, right? Remember we experiment with the creating user and all that. Remember we have done that last time also. So what we can do is just delete that, right? Delete that model from your card. What happened here? Oh, something is not correct, I think. I don't know how I collapsed that, right? I skip. Okay. So you just delete that user account, user model from here, right? And then delete that and run this code npm npx. Basically, what was that? Npx, because you want to delete that table and you know, update your database. Either you go here, you delete that model, and also delete from here, right, from your MongoDB. For example, if you need to delete this account, you just click on that, delete it. So clean that up first, and then after you add the new schema. Okay, so now, you know, the command to sync with your schema, right, will be, let's go back. This one, npx prisma db push. So every time when you make any changes to your schema, just make this code run in the terminal, so it will sync with the database here. It will update here also. Or you can, if it will not work, then just delete, right? Even I tried, it didn't work for me, but I just delete it, and then I added a new schema, and then everything was fine. After adding all new schema, so after you just add all this, right, like account. So look at here, this will be the way we create ID in the MongoDB. Then if you have user ID, right, so this is the relations also. There is ID, user ID. So I mean ID, there is a unique ID, right, and also user ID. So account, so when you creating user here, user, right, this ID will be saved even here also. That's the kind of relation, okay, in the database. So type, provider, and all that, right? So that is account. In the user or session, right, there is ID, session token, and all that. So I have updated all this with the new, you know, like attributes and all that, right, for the MongoDB. So either you can copy from here and just put in your schema file, and done, right? So that is for the schema part. So what is the next now? So once we finish that one, yeah, so npx prisma migrate dev. So this is for the Mongo, what is the database here? No, Postgres SQL command, but because we are using MongoDB, our command is npx prisma db push. That is the command for MongoDB. So there is slight change in the command, right? Just remember that. Sometimes maybe you will encounter this issue, but just look for the right command for the right database. If you are using MySQL, will be a little bit different. Even creating the schema also will be slightly different, the way you add the ID and all that. Okay, so for now just remember, understand schema, right? What is schema and how, where to put that. So for creating user, there are 4 schema, right? 4 schema, we have seen that. Verification token, user, session, and the account. Why is account? Because sometimes you want to log in with credential, sometimes you want to log in with maybe Gmail account, so maybe same user can have different account, right? So that's why that information will be saved here. All right guys, so once we have done that, let's see the next step. Yeah, okay, so that is the same code. I believe I did not format this in the code, so that's why it looks something like that, right? I will change that later. So once adding that schema, you just npx prisma db push, and it will be sync with our database and done. Okay, so that was all about the adapter, right? And the next time, let's say after adding that adapter, okay, adapter, you log in, right? For example, let's go to our site and log in. So go to the login, and I'm gonna, so my code is not running, guys. So I mean, we have done the adapter, we fix all the database here, schema. Now just log in, because you have already Gmail credential to log in, So npm run dev. So right now, try to just understand, okay? Just pay attention to in understanding, okay? Whatever understanding it will be improved right now is okay, right? But later, the same thing you're gonna do in the project, and there you have to memorize it, everything. So just sign out. I'll sign out and try to log in with my Gmail account, and here, right? So once I log in now, my information will be automatically stored in the database. Okay, so now in the user I can go anywhere, right? Of course, only the user page is my authenticated page, like protected page, protected route, but I can go anywhere right now. So let's check the database now, right? Refresh the page, and remember I told you we have 4 model, right? Account, session, users, and verification. Okay, so let's go to the account and see what is there, right? So in the account, ID, user ID, type is auth, right? OAuth, that is the type of the login system, right? OAuth, we are using OAuth. So, and provider is Google, and provider account ID, see that access token is there, expire at, and all that, right? Bearer, scope, and ID token, and see all this information is in the account. Now if you go to the session, there is something also in the session, right? There is session token, user ID, and all that. If you look at the user, right, who is user now? So look at the user information. There is name of the user, email, email verified. So see, verification we have right now. Remember, sometimes when you create account, right, in some of the website, they will send you the email to your email account, correct? And then when you click the link, and that will verify your email. So when you do the verification, then it will add the update this information also, like the email is verified or not, right? So right now we are not going to do all that. Okay, so let's leave it. And image is there, so that's the user. So that was done with the Gmail account, right? I mean, right now I can only use one Gmail account. So, but you see what is happening here. And token, verification token, yeah, there is nothing, because we are not verified yet. So when you do the verification, you generate some kind of token, and you you send that to the user email, and that email will be, once they click that link, and it will automatically update these places like user verification and all that will be updated. Email verified, yes, true, false here, and token will be something generated here also. So that is something different we are not using here, but these things, right, whatever the model this built here is for the more advanced, to build the more advanced login system. Okay, based on the same concept, right, there is I saw one, let's see here, clerk, the clerk, these people has built. So I mean they are the complete management for the user, and this is growing day by day, right? So 50 million, okay, clerk raised 15 million series led by whatever, right? So you know so what I'm thinking, because authentication system is more complex, I'm thinking to use this in my learning management system. So there is free also, right? I think certain, like for maybe whatever number of user there will be free. So if the pricing, let's look at the pricing. So 5,000 monthly active user cap, right, for free. Okay, right. So user cap. So I mean in my learning management, even if I get 1,000 active user or 2,000, right, I will be still able to use this. So email verification, custom domain, pre-built components, clerk branding, all that. So I will check, I don't know, I will check this, because if I just implement this one, then like the complete login system will be maybe done in 5 minutes, right, 10 minutes, 1 hour maybe, and I don't have to worry about managing user data and all that. So just mostly focus in the building the projects, other part of the other components. So and they are using the same everything what we are learning. Okay, but they just build more complex here. Okay guys, so that was, I just show you something. Fine, so now this is the ad, right, just the ad here. So next, let's see where we are now. I don't know, okay, what happened. So after pushing that, right, when you log in with your Gmail account, it will be automatically register the user information. So that was the job of the adapter. Okay, and we done. So that is all you have to do in the adapter. The next is now credential provider. So you want to have, maybe you want to add in your let's say in your project, right, to log in with some email and password. Okay, for example, so we will use this credential provider. So next-auth also provide for that option. Okay, so let's look at the documentation and provider, that is the provider, right? So B after B credential here, right? See that? C credential. Okay, so if I go to this section, what is saying, right? Credentials. The credential provider allow you to handle sign in with arbitrary credentials such as username, password, domain, two-factor authentication, hardware device, so many things. With this credential, basically you create your own login. I mean, how the user can log in, right? You can create in your site. Okay, so in our case, there is something built in inside here, right? That is what we're going to use. And later when when you get more, I mean slowly, when you have time, just you have the idea now, just build again, right, the whole form with your own design and all that. And there, I think there is some documentation for that also. But the thing is, first the basic concept we have to understand. Okay, so email and password, right, and I'll show you how it looks. Let's look at that. So let's run our server first. So it's running. Okay, yeah, so now I'll just sign out. Okay, I'll just sign out, right, sign out. So right now you see email and password here, email and password. So that's the login page, right? Login page. This page you're gonna make nice looking, okay? But this is all coming from the next auth automatically, right? When you add some labels there, it will create this. If you add another provider, right, it will be just added below here. So it will automatically add it. So let's see how we're going to build this, right? Login, and then also how you're going to register user. So we don't have register form here. I mean, you can create the UI and send the document, but we will just use Postman right now to register, like email and password. But when you register something, we must create API, right? So that is also. So let's handle all that part, and then we come to the registration section. So first we're going to deal with the login, right? Login with email and password. That is the first step we have to take care. So configuring credential provider, credential provider, how are we going to configure? So using Google provider for login was easy. We don't have to do anything. But you want to user to register to your website, then we have to do some work to create registration page, login, hash password, lot of things, right? There is a lot of code you have to write. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple of things. First, import this file, this line of code, right? So we can go here, let's go back to our credential. What is saying, right? Import this line to your API file. So import that. Let's copy that and go to our API here. So I will close now schema, right? We don't need this. This is the route. Yeah. So our auth, next auth here, because if you look at this, sometimes just look at here, right? API auth, next auth JS, okay? But that is next auth folder, and then we have route. Now we put route.js in all our API files. Remember that, route.js, and there we are adding all this provider and everything, right? So credential provider, the similar way, okay, the way we have Google provider, right? Google provider, and the execute the function, like if basically what happened, you have the function, right? Like this. Look at this Google provider, right? And you pass the object with some details, some kind of key and all that, right? You have to pass it. Okay. The thing is right, same thing we have to do it with the credential provider. So I want to remove this, and I will show you now. See what we have done is, we have done something up to here, right? This is added. This I will explain this why I add this one, right? Because in our credential provider, the token is not JSON web token, right? That was the database login. Okay, so strategy, we must apply the strategy as a JSON web token, so that remember when we logged in, it must show us all that JSON, with use the JSON file, right, or token, to verify ourselves. So I'm going to place the code here. Okay, the next step is, inside the provider, we must call this file a credential provider, right? Just call that one. When you import, you have this credential provider. Inside you pass this object, same like Google provider, right? And this object, okay, up to here. Look at here, right? It should go all the way down here, the big object. Okay, now you're gonna add all this property, right? Because this is object, you have to add property. So name will be credential. You have to define this, okay? That's the same thing. Don't change anything. You just have to remember, right? You have to provide the name called credential, and then another property called credentials, and that has a value object like this. It has a value object. So in here, what we add, right? Email and password. So anything you want to display, like here, email, look at here, this email and password, right? So whatever you want to display here, you put inside this place, okay? But if you don't want this from something from here, then even we can remove. But later when you learn how to build your own UI, right, your own form, then we don't need to do this, okay? We don't have to do that, but you will figure out that one. For now we need a form also, right, for login. So credentials, inside that object we put email. It has the label, that is email, type is email, and placeholder email. So label is this label, type placeholder is this, right, and what type of information is this? Email, okay? So type is email, you have to provide that. Same thing for password. Label is password, type password, and placeholder is password. Done. So that credential object is built. Next you have to call this authorize function, right? Authorize function, and execute that. Basically this function you have to call it, right? So these are the steps we have to just memorize it or remember it or copy paste, right? That is all you have to do. So this credential now, right, if you look at this name here, this property credential holding now our email and password, okay? So in this authorize, and this will be asynchronous function, right, and it will do some testing now, verification and all that. And let's see what we can do here in the authorize. So credentials, that is the parameter you pass, and the one is a request, REQ, right? Just put these two things. So this credentials we will test. If there is an email, right, if there is, sorry, no email, or if there is no password, then just return it. If you don't have anything, just return it. We add this question mark, right? Why? Because if I don't put it, it will give me the error, right? So we have to tell it, right, that yes, there is something, right? Because see, if you click on this one, type is possibly undefined, right? So possibly undefined, it does not know if there is something or not. So in this situation, if you have something, but we know there is the email and password, right? We know that. So that's why we just put this conditional, right, that we telling, okay, there is something, okay, and that error will be gone. So that is the something to do with the TypeScript. And also this, right? So we can, so again, credential is possibly undefined, right? So we have to add this also, okay? But just remember that two things we have to add. Now we do the verification, right? If there is no email password, just return null, finish. If there is a credential, if there is something, right, what we're going to do now? So this, this provider, because we are going to log in now, right, we're going to send the email, you're going to type email and password, and then in that here in this credential, basically you pass here, right, credential. No, this authorize will automatically pick up this, okay? Don't this will automatically pick up that I mean, this is the some kind of model, right? Just think this as a model, and it will automatically pick up that data, okay, in this credential. When you log in with that email password, it will automatically get that object. This is an object, right, and it's gonna know if there is a information or not, okay? So that is what we verify here. If there is nothing, it will return it. But let's say there is email, right? Now you need to check in your database, okay? Let's find that, right, that user from the database. So how are we going to do? Prisma.user from our user account. So you have to import that Prisma, from the Prisma client, and that is Prisma is going to help us to communicate with our database. that Prisma client. Prisma.user, which model? User model. If you look at the Prisma client here, right? We have the model user here. So this is capital letter, right? Always we start with, last time I told you, capital letter, the model name, right? And you get small, you just call that model with a small letter like this. Prisma user, and find unique where email equal to from credential email. See, and it will give me that object, that user object I will receive here. And because this is network request, we have to make this function asynchronous. Done. So we get user now. Now we got to check again. If there is no user, return null and finish. But if there is user, now we gonna, like password credential, right? Password match. Okay, we have to check the password match. And because later, right, when you create the user, when you send the user, you have to hash it. So we're gonna see, you don't want to store the password like what you type, right? We must hash our password. Okay, so look at this password, hash password. Look at this, right? So we're gonna, during this registration API, we're gonna hash this password. So even login, during the login now, right, we have whatever password I enter. Let's say, for example, let's say I want to test one, and I want to go here, test 1 2 3 4, that is the password, right? So this test 1 2 3 need to be converted to the hash. It has to be hashed and compare with my password here. So this is the email test one. That hash, if that will be matching, right, then only I'm allowed to log in. So that's for hashing. So there is bcrypt, right? Bcrypt, I believe we use during our React, right? Also, I don't know if we did that or not. I don't remember. So that's the same bcrypt, module, right? So you have to import, you have to install that bcrypt. Okay, npm install bcrypt. So you're gonna find that in the documentation here. I have added that also. Yeah, so npm install bcrypt, and for type checking you have to install npm install development @types / bcrypt. So this will do the type checking also, right? For bcrypt we need to add the type check, so we have to install that also. And yeah, one more thing, right? In our schema, remember, when you make a copy from here, so in the user, let's say user, right, there is no password. Okay, so we have to add hash password also, because the user can be logged in with a Gmail account sometimes, but if they want to log in with the credential like username and password, then that password must go here in the user. So for that reason we just create extra field, their hash password. So I will show you in my schema. So look at here, right, this hash password. And because this question mark, right, that this is a conditional, like there, this means if I don't put question mark, that means I have to mandatory entry that data. Okay, but if I put question mark, that will become conditional. Even if I don't insert password, that is okay, right? That is fine. So that was the thing. And let's go back here. Okay, so now where we are, let's go back in our code, right? Yeah, so after that, let me close bcrypt. So here we are, comparing now, right? So password match, so this is the variable. Okay, password match, just the variable, right, equal to bcrypt.compare and credentials.password. So the credentials password is what? the one we just logged in, right? So that is credential password, and user dot hash password, user dot hash password. So see, you just get the user from the database here, and that is the object, and it has the hash password key. There is a something called hash password inside this user object, correct? So in the compare function, you have to pass whatever you logged in, whatever you insert in the credential and from the database, and it will return boolean, true and false, right? If they match, then true. So password match will be true. If it will not match, it will get false. Okay, so return true. Let's say if you get false, right, return false. If this is false, return false. Then if you compare here, right, what is this? Password match, right? If this is true, then it will run this one, user, right? It will just return the user. If this is false, then you get null, and that's it, done. So that is all about the login, right? And that means when you get the user, right, the user, it just passed it. That means it authorized now, right? It will, once you pass all the tests up to here, you are logged in. Okay, and we added this session to strategy to JSON web token, because in our in the Google provider, it already handles this. It has JSON web, it creates this JSON web token, but during here it does not, right? So by making this property session here, by adding this, changing strategy to JSON web token, it will also use JSON web token. Okay, so it will create JSON web token as well. So we the, your this strategy will be for JSON web token, right? And we will be able to log in. Okay, so that was the login part now, right? But let's say I want to create the I want to register now. Okay, I want to register, right, the user. So let's do that first, and then we're gonna registering user, right? So to allow user to register, first we have to create API endpoint, because you can have the let's say you have the UI, right, the page where you can go and then fill out the form, like for account creation, for registration. So when you register something, when you have form and you want to register, right, and that data you want to send to the database, so what we need? API to send or transport our data, correct? Okay, so in API folder, let's create a register folder, right, and add route.ts file, and we're gonna write API, or we call endpoint, for registration. Okay, so let's go and do that. Focus on the now registration part. So in API, where we write all the API, right, and there is a register folder, and there is a route, and in this one, again, to create API means we have to send data to the database, so we're going to need the Prisma client, correct? Prisma client, this is we need, right? Next request response, we know that we need that. Also we need Zod, right? Zod, and we installed that before to validate our data, correct? So we just call the Zod also. Also we're gonna, when you register, right, so for example, let's say I'm gonna put this test 3, because I just need to put email and password, right, to register, and 1 2 3 4 5 6. So that's the email and password. So post here, http localhost 3000/API/register, that is the endpoint. That's the endpoint, API route endpoint for sending this data to the database. So we are writing now endpoint. Okay, so when you in the body, right, raw and JSON, and that is the JSON data you're gonna send. So when you send this data, right, what happened now? In this post function, will receive that data, await request JSON, right? So that is that data, email and password will be added to this body object. Clear? After that, we have to validate that, right? So we know how to use Zod. So we just, let's call this schema, right? G.object, and you email and password validation here. So if G string email, that will be email validation, and password, let's make it minimum 6 character, right? 6 character. The G dot string, and then that is 6 character. So must be minimum 6 character of the password. Okay, that is the validation we added using Zod. Done. So for validation, that is the Zod schema dot safe parse, and pass the data here, that email and this object, email and password. So it will return some kind of information, right? It will return the object. Okay, and there will be success, not success, whatever, right? It gonna give us some you look at here, right? This object you can receive with lot of information. So there is something called success property. If no success, right, then just return error message with code 404, finish. Okay, done. Now because we are registering the account or creating the new user in the database, so we must check if that user is there or not already before we create new one, right? So we say, we just call the Prisma find the unique where email, and from that body, right, we just send this email and it will check in the database. Okay, and it will return if there is a user, right, with that email. It will give us the new data, that data we can receive here in the user. So if there is a user already with that email ID, then just return it. We don't need to do anything, and just send the error message, error, user already exists, right, like that, and status 404. Okay, but for example, if there is no user, right, if user is falsy, then now it's time to hash the password, because we cannot send the same password, right? We have to hash it. So for that reason, we have bcrypt, bcrypt code, right, or the library which we install in our project here, npm install bcrypt. That must be called, right, and there is a property or function called hash. So last time was compare, right? See here we comparing bcrypt compare to password, but here we are converting the password, normal password, to hash. So body, from that body, because our data is inside this object body dot password, and put this 10, right? This 10 is basically the some kind of algorithm, right? Hashing algorithm. I don't know what that called, but just put 10, 15, whatever, but 10 is recommended. Just add the 10 there, right? And it will give us the new hash password here. Okay, you're gonna get the new password like this. It will look something like this. Look at here, right? That normal 1 2 3 4 5 6 converted like this. Okay, so after that, now we're gonna create the Prisma, because now it's time to save the information to the database. So prisma.user, so where you gonna save the data now, right? In the user object or user model, correct? In the user table, so you have to call the user model prisma.user and create, and then in the object you're gonna pass the data property data with bracket email and hash password like that. So email is from body email, the body has email and password. So this will basically save the data in the database, right? And you have this new user now, whatever saved. So let's see what is here, right? So return next response.json, and I don't want to display the email. Okay, I just want to get the, sorry, I don't want to display the password. I just want to get the email. So when let's say when this data is saved, I just want to see the email, right? Even I can add the status here. Let's put the status, right? And I will make it maybe 201. That is success, right? Is that okay? I delete something at the bracket. See, so it's done now, so this is the API for creating the registration, right? So let's do the testing now. So just imagine I'm in the HTML form, right, where I'm going to create the account, and for registration I have email and password, right? I have to call my API endpoint localhost 3000 API/register, and I just send the request, and my server is running, right? So see, so I get test3gmail.com, right? It just returned that, and status 201 created, right? Okay, so if I will again send the request with the same email ID, what gonna happen? Remember, it will test here, it's gonna test, right? Let's say if there is a user, then user already exists. So let's try this, and status 400, right? So see, user already exists and status is 400, bad request. See that? Okay, let's check in our database, right? Go back in our database and I'll refresh this page. So where is the refresh? Here, refresh. And you can see now email with test3 and hash password. Look at here. So I want to log in with email 3 right now, email 3. So let's try. So go back because we have the login already, sign in here. So what I will do, I'm gonna call this test3 and the password is 123 and sign in with credential. Okay, and I'm sent to the user right here, but it's okay, but at least I'm logged in now, right? I'm logged in already. Okay guys, I'm logged in. So I mean, see here right now you don't see the name and all that because we don't have, right? We don't have that. That was all, that was coming from the Gmail account details, but it's okay. I mean, at least we logged in. We have sign out, sign in, sign out button here. Let's see if you go to the application and auth next session token, right? You can see here the token. Okay, so fine, it's working, right? So you just have to, if whatever we learned yesterday and today, right, if you manage to just understand, right, look at the concept, try to understand. Okay, just try to understand, right, all the steps, make a note step by step. Okay, because once you understand the concept and then you write a code will be better, right? Just do that one, and if any question please ask me. Okay, if someone has difficulty setting up the Google credential, all that, right, let me know. You can join in Zoom or even here and a Zoom, right? So I can access your computer and explain through. So please let me know. Okay, don't wait, right? I will stop here now, guys. So that is all we have to do for this login system, right? I will push the updated code also here, and then I will add the video online right now. So additional reading, I mean, right now, later, right? Let's say when you get 3 times, what you have to do is you're gonna, with this concept, it will, now you're gonna easily, even if you watch some YouTube video now, right, it will be very helpful. You can easily create the whole login system. Okay, but this was the difficult part, understanding this whole thing, right? Like how you're gonna use the Google provider, how you're gonna use the credential, what are the steps, right? In the beginning, I mean, even in the YouTube I don't find anyone explaining properly, right? For me also to understand, it took me long, I mean, lot of like readings, lot of so many tutorial I watched, right? So it's not easy. Okay, people will, I mean, mixed up so many things, will not give you the proper answer right away. Maybe I don't know if even if I'm explaining, I don't know if that is clear or not, right? So let me know, okay, guys. If something is doubting, let me know. But at least I try to put it step by step to just make it, just to make it work, right, in the proper manner. And same thing we're gonna do with our project, okay? We're gonna have from start with a zero. Each step we're gonna take and move forward, right? And by the time we finish the project, if you guys memorize all that steps, understand properly, do it couple of times, and finally maybe you have to do it without looking the whole code, right? Maybe in 10 hours, just sit in the morning, just have a coffee, tea, breakfast in the morning 6 until evening 6 o'clock, write the code, right? One day finish it. If you can do that one project like that without watching or consulting anything, right, then I think you can do anything after that. So that's my goal for you guys to make in next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, I will stop here, guys. So